intelligence and design are totally different things. So when we look at an intelligent design, we are in a sense looking at the difference of perhaps a branch that is connected to the tree and a branch that has fallen on the ground. Because once we see that the branch has fallen on the ground, we see that the design of the branch, the intelligent design is there. It's just its association with something was giving it intelligence. So in other words, our intelligence is for now naturally very understood as an absorption of that which is a greater force. So in other words, we don't need to accept any part of the spectrum of good and bad. You don't have to be in any of the cycles. You don't have to be in any condition-based reality. But you realize that the way you work with yourself is to understand that, okay, you don't know some things, but you can play. Do you know? Have you heard this idea? They tell me, they bring out an instrument usually, and I tell people I know how to play. I could play some stuff on that. I could improvise. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm just like, give it to me. And people judge. They're like, you don't know the values. You haven't read it. You haven't played this instrument, you know. And so on one level, they're true. I haven't. But my level of engagement is its own intelligent design. What that means is that I take that instrument and I use it in so many ways until I see how it can make that good sound. And I find it and I improvise. I come up with my own methodology. Because once you don't accept any methodology, you have given yourself very silently and peacefully a permission to observe a sense of your omniscience. That means you touch your separation. You go touch the tree and you look around and you breathe and you're like, oh, I am here. This is where life and every single reason and belief and idea has brought me to this moment. Now, where can this exploration go? And you look around and you see that your breathing is altering things. So it's actually an attention to a sensitivity. So what you think is memory is just an organic association. What that means is that you're aware of this unknown room and whatever happens in it, you're freaking out, but some things happening in it are real and some things are not. In other words, our reality is based on the sense of reality of a greater conception. For example, we have in the Bhagavad Gita, and to my understanding, there is the talk of Krishna consciousness. And we see what Krishna consciousness, it's the awareness of Godhead through behavior of the Godhead. What that is that there's certain personalities, there's certain things that you can just follow and you will feel free. But your sense of freedom is greater than what you follow. That's what I'm suggesting. That when you look at the notion of a spirit, it's the most intimate existential relationship you have with yourself, which you can even consider to even define. So it's a powerful moment. And even though when the lightning strikes, many people fear, some people understand that we are alive in many ways. And so with such words, our eyes shall open to the truth before our eyes. Guys, relationship is more of your relationship with certain practical methods. Everyone has a combination of unique practical methods because we're combinations of different ideas, different cultures. So regardless of what you learn, you have some things that are unique to you based on where you've grown up. And so as one to have experienced life, what that means is that you experience it deeply. That if I was on my dying bed and my son was there, I would always say, son, look out and see how much there is in existence and follow that to its depths. But at the same time, remember that you're here to see everything. And if you don't look within, you have discarded your own voice when your life required it. Harmonize and align your thoughts. You're no longer reckless because of your past, because you are able in your present, bring yourself to the present and breathe and understand that that breath is allowance of life to live. In any way. Because once I have explored the notion of subtler and more sensitive realities and concepts of parallel existence. And guys, I have my own views because I see that the things I'm seeing are not explained by even the books of the past, because we're no longer in the past. In other words, I'm seeing very unique associations to my present. And it's always a brighter view. It's always brighter. Because I can't see the end. It's always a brighter view. So, my utilization with the unknown is actually a very playful relationship of my most sincere self asking and receiving. In other words, a lot of people see Jesus and then they see themselves and they see Jesus different than themselves. Well, I want to say we have imaginations. So let's just go back to that moment when Jesus walked on the water. Right after when he finished that walk and he came back. Do you think there was words? Do you think there was silence? What do you think? Do you think there was collapse? No. There was a view. The unseen had spoken to man differently. And that is the most important thing. How the unknown and the unseen communicates man. This is the most important relationship. This is a bigger relationship than perhaps the one you have with yourself or with your parents or with anything. This is the conception of you. Observe your conception and recognize what you feel you need to do. Do not confuse yourself by not utilizing your greater intelligence. It's very simple. It's self-observance. It is not something you need anyone to tell you. You're doing it. Just be aware of it. It's just like you're breathing. You don't need a self-help book for breathing. That's the nature. That's the fabric. Right? So we don't need a self-help book to, in a sense, become that relationship of a guide. Because once you see the voice of the best advice someone giving you being exactly the same as the wind, life has always given you the best note, the best hint. Love is important, and our understanding and explanation of love, it ignites things. It ignites fires we need. We need people who can teach human sincerity by being sincere, by being true to themselves, regardless of how the truth will manifest. And to breathe the same breath in infinite ways. For guys, there's much to talk about. Thank you. Much blessings.